Elena gripped the worn steering wheel of her old pickup truck, the engine sputtering as she pulled into the dusty driveway of the hacienda. The sun dipped low over the Sierra Madre mountains, casting long shadows across the sprawling estate that had been her family's for generations. 5,000 acres of olive groves, vineyards, and sun-baked earth worth a fortune she never flaunted. But today, as she killed the ignition and stepped out into the heat, her mind wasn't on the land. It was on the letter crumpled in her pocket, the one from her late husband's lawyer confirming the deed was hers alone, unencumbered, valued at $50 million. She'd buried Carlos 5 years ago, and in that time, she'd sold off scraps of the estate to keep up appearances enough to pay for her son, Miguel's college tuition, and his flashy city apartment in Mexico City. Miguel, her only child, the boy she'd raised alone after Carlos's heart attack, thought she was scraping by on a widow's pension and odd jobs as a seamstress. It was a lie she'd woven carefully, thread by thread, because love demanded sacrifice. And Elena believed in testing the heart before handing over the keys to a kingdom. The hacienda's foreman, old Tomas, waved from the porch, his face etched with the same lines as the parched soil. "Ciora, the boy's on his way. Called from the airport. Says he's bringing the fiancée for a visit before the big wedding next month." Elena's stomach twisted. Miguel had announced his engagement to Sofia 3 months ago, over a crackly phone line, gushing about her beauty, her ambition, her family's connections in the capital. Sofia Vargas, daughter of a mid-level banker, with a law degree from the Sorbonne and a smile that could disarm a diplomat. Elena had seen the photos Sofia in designer dresses, posing against marble backdrops. It was the kind of life Miguel craved, the one he'd left the ranch for at 18. "Prepare the guest rooms," Elena said, forcing a smile, "and hide the good wine. We don't want to seem too comfortable." Tomas chuckled, but his eyes held worry. He'd been with the family since Elena was a girl, knew the estate's worth better than anyone. "You're playing a dangerous game, Patrona. What if they find out?" "They won't," she replied, though doubt gnawed at her. "Not until I know if they'll stay for me, or just the money." That night, as cicadas hummed in the groves, Miguel's jeep roared up the drive. Elena stood on the veranda, her simple cotton dress faded from too many washes, a shawl draped over her shoulders against the evening chill. The door slammed, and there he was, her son, taller than she remembered, his dark hair slicked back, a tailored suit hugging his frame. Beside him, Sofia, a vision in white linen, her heels sinking into the gravel as she clutched a Louis Vuitton bag. "Mom!" Miguel enveloped her in a bear hug, smelling of cologne and city air. "God, it's been too long. This place. It's just like I left it." "Like you left it," Elena echoed, pulling back to study him. His eyes flicked past her, scanning the peeling paint on the hacienda's adobe walls, the overgrown bougainvillea choking the fountain. "Disappointment? Or just nostalgia?" "And this is Sofia," he said, beaming as he drew her forward. "Mi amor. Meet the woman who made me who I am." Sofia extended a manicured hand, her grip firm but cool. "Elena Ramirez, it's an honor. Miguel speaks of you constantly, your strength, your stories. This ranch, it's poetic, isn't it? So raw, so authentic." Elena nodded, biting back a retort. "Poetic." The estate had fed generations, survived revolutions and droughts. But to Sofia, it was a backdrop, a quaint stage for Instagram posts. "Come inside. Dinner's waiting." The meal was simple tortillas Elena had pressed by hand, beans from the garden, chicken stewed with chilies. They ate on the scarred oak table in the kitchen, the one Carlos had carved himself. Miguel dominated the conversation, regaling them with tales of his marketing job, the high rises he'd helped brand, the deals closing in boardrooms with ocean views. Sofia chimed in with polished anecdotes, Paris summers, networking galas, her father's yacht club. "And you, Mom?" Sofia asked midway through, her fork pausing over the plate. "What keeps you busy out here?" "Miguel says it's challenging." Elena poured more water from a clay jug. "The land, always the land. Olives need pruning, vines need tending. It's honest work." Miguel laughed, a bit too loudly. "Mommy's a fighter. Remember that flood in 15? She rebuilt the barn single-handed." Pride swelled in Elena's chest, but Sofia's expression soured slightly. It must be lonely. No family nearby, no. Modern amenities. We manage, Elena said. Family's what matters. By dessert flan made from the estate's own eggs Sofia had steered the talk to the wedding. We're thinking Guadalajara at the Hilton. 300 guests, mariachi band, fireworks over the lake. Miguel's already booked the planner. Elena's spoon clattered against her bowl. Guadalajara was 4 hours away, a glittering escape from the dust. Sounds lovely. And the cost? Miguel waved it off. We've got it covered. My bonus came through big one. Sofia's parents are chipping in too. Sofia leaned in, eyes sparkling. But we'd love your blessing, Ciora. And perhaps a family heirloom? Something to pass down? The room felt smaller. Elena's pulse quickened. Heirlooms? The hacienda's silver candelabras, the embroidered linens, trinkets to them, treasures to her. Of course. Whatever makes you happy. That first night set the tone. Over the next week, as wedding preparations buzzed via endless calls, Sofia's questions grew sharper. How do you afford the taxes on all this land? She'd ask while Elena showed her the olive press, her voice laced with fox curiosity. Miguel, once so attentive, now scrolled his phone during their walks, muttering about scaling up the ranch as if it were a startup. One afternoon, as they picnicked under the ancient oak, Elena's basket packed with cheese and figs from the estate, Sofia dropped the bomb. Miguel and I were talking. After the wedding, maybe we could modernize things here. Solar panels, ecotourism, turn it into a resort. Investors are dying for authentic experiences. Miguel nodded eagerly. Yeah, Mom. You wouldn't have to work so hard. We could hire staff, take care of everything. Elena's bread turned to ash in her mouth. Take care? They saw her as a burden. The ranch as a piggy bank. It's not for sale, she said quietly. Sofia blinked, feigning hurt. Not selling, partnering. For your sake. That evening, alone in her room, Elena unfolded the lawyer's letter again. 15 million. Enough to buy their dream life 10 times over. But she wouldn't hand it over to vultures. No. She'd test them further. The wedding arrived in a whirlwind of tulle and trumpets. Guadalajara's Hilton ballroom shimmered under chandeliers. Guests in silk and sequins toasting with champagne flown in from France. Elena stood at the back, her black dress modest amid the glamour, watching Miguel and Sofia exchange vows. He looked handsome, she radiant. But as the priest pronounced them man and wife, Elena whispered a prayer. Let this union be forged in truth, not greed. The reception was a blur. Speeches, dances, the cake a five-tiered monstrosity. Sofia's father pulled Miguel aside for a hushed talk about mergers, while Sofia cornered Elena by the bar. Your son is a gem. We'll make him shine even brighter. And you'll visit us in the city, won't you? We have space. Space, as if Elena were a potted plant to repot. The hacienda needs me. Sofia's laugh tinkled like ice. That old place? Miguel says it's falling apart. Let it go, Ciora. Live a little. The honeymoon was 2 weeks in the Maldives villas over turquoise water. Private butlers. Elena drove home alone, the empty truck cab echoing her thoughts. While they lounged on beaches, she met with Tomas and the lawyer, signing papers that locked the estate tighter than a vault. Trusts, clauses, contingencies. If greed showed its face, the land would pass to a conservation group, not her blood. They returned tanned and glowing, piling into the hacienda with suitcases bursting from luxury shops. Mom, you have to see these, Sofia exclaimed, holding up a silk scarf. Bali silk, only $500. Elena smiled thinly. Beautiful. But the glow faded fast. Bills arrived, credit card statements for the wedding, the trip. Miguel's job had restructured, he said one night over dinner, his fork pushing rice around his plate. Layoffs. Nothing major. But tight times. Sofia's eyes darted to Elena. We were thinking about the ranch. Maybe sell a parcel? The Eastern Grove, it's not productive anyway. Elena's blood ran cold. That grove's where your father proposed. Miguel shrugged. Times change, Mom. We could use the cash. Pay down debts. Start fresh. Start fresh. Without her, she realized, the next days blurred into a siege. Sofia helped in the kitchen, her suggestions laced with barbs. Why not upgrade the appliances? Or hire a chef? Miguel pored over maps, marking viable sections for sale, ignoring Elena's protests. One morning, as Elena mended a fence in the heat, Sofia appeared in designer jeans and boots that cost more than Tomas's yearly wage. Siora, be reasonable. Miguel stressed. The city's expensive. If you cared, you'd help. If you cared. The words ignited something feral in Elena. That night, she overheard them in the guest room, voices low but sharp. We need that money, Amber, Sofia hissed. Your mother's clinging to ghosts. Push harder. She's stubborn, Miguel replied. But once it's ours. Ours, not hers. Elena slipped away, tears hot on her cheeks. Her son, the boy who'd once sworn to protect the land, now plotting its carve-up. The breaking point came 2 weeks later. A storm rolled in from the Pacific, thunder cracking like whips, rain lashing the roof. Elena sat by the fire, mending Miguel's old shirt. When they burst in, soaked and furious, the jeep had skidded off the road. Sofia's fault, Miguel claimed, but blame flew like sparks. We can't keep doing this, Sofia screamed, gesturing at the leaking ceiling. This house is a ruin. We're drowning in debt. And she sits here sewing like it's 1950. Miguel rounded on Elena. Mom, enough. Sign the papers. Sell the East 40. Or we'll force it. Lawyer says we have rights as family. Force it. The word hung heavy. Elena rose slowly, her hand steady despite the quake in her chest. Rights? After all I've given. You've given nothing. Sofia spat. A crumbling ranch and lies about being poor. We know you're hiding something. That truck's older than dirt. But the taxes are paid. Where's the money, old woman? The room spun. They knew? No, suspected. But close enough. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating their faces. Miguel's guilt-tinged anger. Sofia's naked avarice. Elena laughed then, a low, unbroken sound that silenced them. Hiding, oh, my dears. You have no idea. She crossed to the mantel, pulling down a brass key tied with faded ribbon. This unlocks more than a door. It unlocks truth. Miguel frowned. What are you? Follow me. She led them through the storm, rain soaking her dress, to the old chapel on the hill, a relic from her grandfather's days, its bell tower piercing the clouds. Inside, amid flickering candlelight, she knelt by the altar and inserted the key into a hidden panel. It groaned open, revealing not gold or jewels, but a leather-bound ledger, yellowed maps, and a single envelope. Read it, she said, thrusting the envelope at Miguel. He tore it open, Sofia peering over his shoulder. Gasps echoed. The lawyer's confirmation, full ownership, appraised at $50 million US dollars, appraisals from Sotheby's for the antique furnishings, deeds to mineral rights beneath the grove's untapped silver veins. This can't be, Miguel stammered, face draining of color. Mom, why didn't you? Why? Elena's voice cracked like thunder. Because I wanted to see your hearts, not your wallets. Sofia recoiled, clutching her throat. You tricked us. Pretended to be broke too. To what? Humiliate us. Humiliate? Elena stepped closer, eyes blazing. You came here with open arms, but closed fists. The wedding? You demanded heirlooms before cake was cut. The honeymoon? You tallied costs like merchants. And now, after 2 weeks of marriage, you plot to dismantle my home, our home, for your city debts. Miguel sank onto a pew, ledger trembling in his hands. We thought you needed help. That you were suffering. Suffering? Elena's laugh returned, bitter. I suffered when your father died, raising you alone, pouring every peso into your dreams. I sold my jewelry for your tuition, leased fields for your apartment. And you repay me by seeing a beggar, not a mother. Tears streaked Miguel's face. Mom, forgive me. I was blind. Sofia. Sofia backed toward the door, rain howling behind her. This is insane. We're leaving. You can rot in your riches. But Elena blocked her. Leave? Oh no. You married my son, but you don't get to slither away. That ledger? It includes a codicil. Any attempt to coerce or defraud the estate voids inheritance rights. It goes to the land trust, protected forever. Sofia's eyes widened. You planned this? Love plans for the worst, Elena said softly. I hoped you'd prove worthy. But greed is a mirror, it shows the soul ugly and true. Miguel stood, reaching for her. Mom, please? We can fix this. I'll quit the city job. come home, learn the land. Elena searched his face, seeing the boy again, the one who'd chased fireflies in these groves. Can you? Without resentment? Without dreaming of boardrooms and yachts? He nodded. Desperate. Yes. For you. For us. Sofia sneered. Speak for yourself, Miguel. I'm done with this farce. The storm peaked then, wind rattling the stained glass windows depicting saints in judgment. Elena turned to her daughter-in-law, pity softening her gaze. Then go, Sofia. But know this. The vows you took weren't just to him. They were to family. And family doesn't discard the weak, they lift them. Sofia fled into the night, hills splashing mud, Miguel calling after her. But she didn't stop. By dawn, she'd packed and driven to the airport. A terse text to Miguel. This was never about love. It's about survival. He returned to the chapel alone, sodden and shattered. Elena waited, a blanket around her shoulders, coffee steaming in tin mugs. She'll file for divorce, he whispered. Says I'm tied to ghosts. Ghosts? Elena pulled him close. We're flesh and blood, Mijo, and land that roots us. They talked till sunrise about the estate's secrets. Hidden springs that could irrigate double the crops. Partnerships with wineries waiting for a nod. Miguel listened. Really listened. For the first time in years. I was lost in the city lights, he admitted. Chasing shadows. But here, this is real. Over the following months, Sofia's lawyers circled like vultures demanding settlements. Alimony. A slice of the pie. But the codicil held ironclad. She got nothing but her pride's bruise. Miguel, humbled, threw himself into the ranch pruning vines with Tomas, negotiating with buyers for organic olives. Elena watched him bloom, the city polish fading for calluses and quiet strength. One evening, as they shared wine from the estate's first new vintage, Miguel raised his glass. To secrets that save us. Elena clinked hers against it, the hacienda's lights twinkling behind them. And to truths that bind. But Elena had one final secret, buried deeper than deeds. In the chapel's altar, beneath the ledger, lay a second envelope, not for Miguel, but for the future. If he proved steadfast, it would unlock scholarships for local children, funds for a community center, expansions that shared the wealth. If not, the trust would claim it all. She never told him. Some tests endure, whispered on the wind through the groves. And in the quiet heart of the hacienda, Elena knew, true inheritance wasn't land or gold. It was the choice to choose love over legacy. Every dawn. Years passed. Miguel married again, this time to Rosa, a botanist from the village with soil under her nails and laughter like rain. Their children raced through the olives, learning the land's songs. Elena, graying but unbowed, watched from the veranda, the key now on a chain around her neck. One night, as stars wheeled overhead, Miguel found the second envelope. His hands shook as he read generosity beyond imagining. Mom, he choked, finding her by the fire. You tested us all along. She smiled, eyes twinkling. And you passed, Mijo. We all did.